Alright, what's up everyone, I'm Loki, and today we're going to be taking a look at a recap of the Week 15 matchup between the now 10-4 Seattle Seahawks and the 6-8 Washington football team. Now I'm recording this video right after the game ended because I want to talk about something that happened right around the end of the game that really just completely upset me, and I don't want to wait until my emotions have kind of calmed down. I want to talk about this because it just baffles me, and that's the KJ Wright play on Terry McLaurin. And it was with like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I'll have it playing right now, or just screenshots of it just to not get copyrighted. But he basically, Terry McLaurin, he caught a nice little slant pass. It was third and I don't know how long, but it would have been a nice stop by KJ Wright, making it 4th and 3, 4th and 2. But Terry McLaurin, right? He puts his head down. And I mean, KJ Wright, he lowers his shoulder to make a tackle, and guess what? He makes the tackle. But since Terry McLaurin lowered his head down and he put his helmet straight into KJ Wright's shoulder, it's apparently defenseless. Even though he caught the ball, put his head down, he made that decision himself. That's not a defensive play. I mean, what is KJ Wright supposed to do there? How is that a penalty? That basically gave them a first down. Game could have been over a lot earlier than that. It would have been 4th and 3. Honestly, probably would not have gotten the stop, but what if we did? I mean, our defense didn't play great in the second half, but we could have gotten that stop there. Could have been 4th and 3, could have got the stop, could have gotten off the field. Game over. Boom. However, they just had to call what? Unnecessary roughness? How is that unnecessary roughness? Yes, it's a hit to the head, but when the wide receiver, right, you're a linebacker, you need to make the stop. It's 3rd and however long. You need to get the stop, make it 4th down. You're not going to give them a first down. Receiver's running straight at you, so you put your shoulder down to make a clean tackle. The receiver lowers his helmet into your shoulder and gets a penalty. What are you supposed to do as a defender there? What is KJ Wright supposed to do to not get a flag there? I need the ref that called that to explain. How is he supposed to do anything? Yes, I get it. It's a hit to the helmet. That's something that you don't want to see in the NFL. But when the receiver makes it a hit to the helmet, you can't blame that on the defender. The receiver made a bad decision. Terry McLaurin decided to lower his head into KJ Wright's shoulder, not the other way around. KJ Wright didn't lower his helmet. He was going shoulder into him. If Terry McLaurin was standing up, that is a clean hit, just a big hit that stops the dude. But of course, because Terry McLaurin, he's an offensive player, he's protected a lot more than defensive players, it's a penalty. I just don't get it. I just want to know what KJ Wright is supposed to do in that situation to not get a penalty and also get the stop. Is he supposed to just let Terry McLaurin walk right past him because his head's down now? It's like, what are you supposed to do? I don't understand what you're supposed to do in that situation in KJ Wright's thing, but it doesn't matter. They ended up going down the field a little bit more. We let up some plays, but then we got a stop. We got 3rd down. We got a sack. Then 4th down, we stopped them. So, I mean, we got 2 sacks in a row. We ended the game, but still, game could have been over a little bit earlier. At least they could have had a chance, but that was just a really dumb play. I don't get it. That really upset me at the time, but, still kind of upset. But I get that it's a helmet, but what is he supposed to do? What is KJ Wright supposed to do there? But other than that, I mean, I'm not too mad about anything else. I'm getting absolutely killed in my fantasy semifinals right now. But that was kind of expected after the Saturday games of Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Cole Beasley absolutely going off. But I mean, either way, nothing really to complain about this game. Carlos Hyde, he had a nice 50-yard touchdown. Would have been nice to get that for Chris Carson for my fantasy team, but it doesn't matter. I mean, still happened for the Seahawks. Our offense in the second half didn't do great. We had that big play from Carlos Hyde, but nothing really else. And then, I mean, first half, we played pretty well. Offensively and defensively, we played pretty well. I liked how our offense looked in the first half. We were running the ball, getting quick passes. Russell Wilson wasn't getting hit. And, I mean, we just were putting together pretty solid drives. Didn't get too many plays because, I mean, the Washington football team, they had some pretty long drives. We had some pretty decently long drives. So, I mean, it was just a solid first half of football. But second half, we came out, and Dwayne Haskins, he just looked like an elite quarterback for 2 drives in a row. He just completely killed our defense. But then that last possession looked like it was going to happen again after that stupid penalty call. But it didn't really matter. We ended up stopping them. We got a sack on 2nd down, sack on 3rd down, and then 4th down. We got a lot of pressure, forced them to make a bad play. It doesn't really matter. But I mean, overall, we played pretty well. When it came to the stats for this game, Russell Wilson didn't really have to do too much. Our run game was doing really good. He completed 18 of his 27 attempts for 121 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and surprisingly enough, against one of the best defensive lines in the NFL, he wasn't sacked once this game. Absolutely amazing day from our offensive line. They did really good in the run game, pretty good in the passing game. You know, there were a couple of times where there was some pressure and it wasn't that great, but still, that's going to happen. No sacks allowed. That was really good for our offensive line today. On the other side for the Washington football team, Dwayne Haskins actually played a really good game today. 38 for 55. He had a lot of passing attempts because they were down most of the game. He almost had 300 yards. He had a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Both of those interceptions were pretty bad ones, but those were really the only mistakes that they made as a team that game. He was sacked 4 times today, 2 of which came on the last drive, the last actual possession that they had, which basically won us the game. But really, I mean, pretty good day for Dwayne Haskins. He looked really solid other than those 2 interceptions. But, I mean, he looked good today. I think that they could potentially see him going forward as their starter, but I don't know. We did sack him 4 times. That's pretty good for our defensive line. The main key reason for this win for the Seahawks, though, was the run game. As a team, we did really well in the run game. 26 carries for 181 yards, 7 yards a carry, a touchdown. Just absolutely amazing day running the football for the Seahawks. Basically just the reason that we won. Our passing game didn't really get going. We had some nice short passes. We didn't really have any big plays, but our run game allowed us to just push down the field, just consistently getting yards. Carlos Hyde had that big touchdown like I mentioned earlier, but run game, definitely the reason we won this game today, along with our defense. The defense for the Seahawks was really good this game. We played really well, other than those 2 drives where Dwayne Haskins basically picked us apart. 2 consecutive touchdown drives after the Washington football team had 23 consecutive drives without a touchdown. Pretty bad there, but other than that, I mean, we played really well in the first half. We had some pretty nice stops late in that final possession for the Washington football team. Of course, we could have made it 4th down, but they just had to call that penalty on KJ Wright. But either way, I mean, we played really good defensively today. KJ Wright had some nice stops. I mean, DJ Reed. Today was DJ Reed's day. And Quentin Dunbar, not Carlos Dunbar. Quentin Dunbar coming back next week or the week after might take away some of his reps, but DJ Reed, he played absolutely amazing today. He had some nice hits. He had some nice pass deflections. He had an interception. He was just, basically, if they threw to that side of the field that DJ Reed was covering, most of the time it really wasn't going to go well for them. And I mean, Shaquill Griffin, he had a really good day today too. He had some pass deflections. He had an interception, but I mean, really good day for us defensively. That first half was absolutely amazing. Second half, a little bit weak offensively and defensively, but overall, really good game defensively when you just look at the entirety of the game. The first half really just was dominant for the defense today. One thing that I wanted to talk about real quick that isn't really mentioned too much is the special teams. The Seahawks special teams unit has been really good. I mean, Jason Myers, he's still perfect on field goals. He's missed a couple extra points, but he made both of his extra points today, both of his field goals today. Still really good kicker. He's doing really good right now. And Michael Dixon, our punter, he is a Pro Bowler for sure. The dude is just amazing. I mean, he kicks the ball so far and it just drops dead and just stays. I mean, he had 2 punts inside the 5-yard line that were well over 60-yard punts. I mean, when they actually get counted in the stats, since he goes from the line of scrimmage, technically they're like 50, 55 yarders. But I remember one of them. I mean, he kicked it 67 yards from like where he was standing, and it went down to the 3-yard line. Like, that's an amazing punt. I mean, Michael Dixon's been playing really well this entire season. Jason Myers, of course, has been playing really well. So big props to our special teams unit. Overall, this was just a solid game for the Seahawks in what could potentially be a playoff matchup. If we stay the 5 seed, I believe we will actually end up playing the Washington football team. So, I mean, if we don't win our division, we will play the Washington football team in the playoffs or the Giants. So maybe we don't want to win the division this year because we probably would have an easier matchup if we don't win the division. But this was a good game for us. Pretty solid overall. I mean, we could have done a lot better. We could have not allowed those 2 touchdown drives from the Washington football team. We could have done a lot better offensively in the second half, only getting 1 touchdown and then just punting the ball away the rest of the plays and getting an interception for Russell Wilson. I mean, we could have done better in the second half, but the first half was just completely dominant. It was really hard for the Washington football team to come back from the first half and that first drive that we had with Carlos Hyde getting that big touchdown. So, I mean, overall, early in the game, we played splendid. But then later in the game, we played pretty questionable. But we didn't play too bad to the point where we blew our lead. We played fine. Could have blown our lead at the end of the game, but we got some big clutch sacks from our players. Carlos Dunlap came in. You know, not Carlos Dunbar, Carlos Dunlap. I don't know how I messed that up. I messed that up a ton when I was making the Carlos Dunlap video when we actually traded for him. I kept on calling him Quentin Dunlap, or I'd say Carlos Dunbar. I keep getting them mixed up. But, you know, Carlos Dunlap had a nice sack today, and Quentin Dunbar didn't play today. So, I mean, overall, really good game for us. That Russell Wilson interception, pretty disappointing. He rolled out of the pocket. You thought something good was going to happen. Then he threw it, and it just got batted down by Montez Sweat, I believe. And, I mean, really good interception by De'Aaron Payne. He came in sliding and he got the ball. So, I mean, good for them, but that was a disappointing interception. You hate to see Russell Wilson continue to get these interceptions, just piling on his career high interception year. But, I mean, overall, it doesn't really matter. I mean, that interception didn't kill us. Definitely would have been nice to not have it. Our run game was just dominant today. We won the game. Could be a playoff matchup. I think if we see them in the playoffs, they will be at home once again, and I think we could potentially beat them once again. Chase Young he wasn't really that big of a factor this game, and I mean, of course, he made some pressures on some plays, but he wasn't getting in the backfield over and over and over again. He wasn't getting any crazy plays. He got some pressure, not really too much. We contained him pretty well. And I mean, overall, just a solid win. Nothing too crazy about it. Russell Wilson didn't have any 40, 50-yard touchdown passes. But, I mean, just a solid game offensively and defensively for this team. Really good going into the future. Like I mentioned earlier, the thing that I liked the most from this game was the fact that in the first half, we could put together those drives where we were just getting those quick passes, getting some nice runs. And, you know, the Washington football team, they made an adjustment. They started focusing on stopping the run, and they did really good stopping the run in the second half. Of course, we still got some of it going, but they had a lot more negative yard plays in the second half than they did in the first half. But, I mean, I liked how our offense looked, especially going against the Rams next week. We need to be able to put together long drives because the Rams are a really good team, both in the secondary and in the pass rush. So, I mean, we can't be relying on the big plays because we saw what happened when we played the Rams the first time this year. They just completely destroyed us. Our offense didn't really get going. And, I mean, we need to be able to put together these long drives, quick, short passes, some running plays, just some solid yardage plays, just putting together drives that we can actually, you know, consistently do instead of relying on a 50-yard touchdown to DK Metcalf, which, speaking of that, early on in the game, there was an offsides call where, I mean, free play, of course. We threw a Hail Mary to DK Metcalf. Dude almost broke his leg. My heart stopped. I mean, it was a hyperextension, I believe. He probably hyperextended his knee. It looked really bad, but, I mean, it could have been really bad, but it wasn't anything too bad. He came back. But man, it was scary. If something would have popped there, that could have been absolutely horrible. But it seemed like it was just a hyperextension, which still is a pretty bad injury. I mean, those hurt really bad, and it's going to linger probably throughout the next week. But he should be fine going into next week. So hopefully he'll be fine for next game. But very scary injury there. But I mean, that really doesn't matter. He came back, played pretty well, got some nice catches, and we won the game. That's all that really matters. But now, after this pretty solid win for the Seahawks over the Washington football team, we're going into what I believe is going to be an even tougher matchup. The Los Angeles Rams, I mean, they can make offensive plays a lot better than the Washington football team, and defensively, they have Jalen Ramsey, they have Aaron Donald. They have people that can cause us problems. So really, we're going to have to be going into next game. We have to play like we did today, solid, putting together good drives, playing good defense, but we need to do everything that we did good today even better. Because we had some missteps this game. We had some mistakes this game. Didn't make too many big mistakes, but I mean, we can't really make mistakes against the Rams. They're a really good team. And I mean, thinking about it right now, I want to win that game so that we don't go 0-2 in the season series, but I also kind of want to lose that game so that the Rams can actually, you know, win the division, and then we'll play the Washington football team again in the playoffs instead of probably the Buccaneers or someone else. So hopefully we win that game or lose. I don't know what I want to happen in that game. I think an easier playoff matchup might be good since we clinched the playoff berth with this game. But I don't know. It's going to be a tough matchup next week. I think that we can win, but thinking about it right now, I kind of want to lose so that we play the NFC East in the playoffs. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you thought about this game, and let me know what you think about next game against the Rams. Should we win that game, or should we lose that game kind of on purpose to get a better playoff matchup? Let me know what you think. I mean, we could potentially have home field advantage for most of the playoffs if we do win that game and win the division, but you know, we're playing the NFC East first round. That's kind of hard to pass up. Let me know what you think. I think we should lose that game, but I want to win it just for, you know, pride's sake. So, like I said, let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. With that, I'd like to thank you for watching. Have a great day.